Hey everybody, it's me, Weaslack. I hope this video finds you in good health, especially with everything going on. I wanted to do a quick update and maybe take a look at some of the template tracks that you may have heard in the demo if you played the demo. Maybe a look at how I write the music itself and maybe how I even got started. I want to bring it back to the start, and that would be me looking on Twitter to be a part of someone's project. I had next to no experience as far as writing video game music goes, except for maybe like a proof of concept for an app that a student was making, and I just did some background music for that. There was a short horror game demo that I saw that I reached out to somebody, and I wanted to be a part of the full game, and they let me do the end credits for that, so I was lucky enough to be a part of that. But as far as like a full-on blown game, that was something I really wanted to be a part of. I remember seeing Joey post screenshots about his game, and he was even asking someone to write music for it, and he would even offer pay. I think Joey reached out to me though and asked me to be a part of his game. He wanted me to write music for it. Maybe he had heard some of my tracks from somewhere I had posted on Twitter perhaps. And I think him seeing something in me gave me the confidence to be like, okay, I think I can do this. So we kind of went from there. And the first track I did for him, I believe, was The Pumpkin Prince. After he gave me feedback on The Pumpkin Prince, which was very well received, it gave me a boost in confidence. The next track I think I did from there was the Courtyard Theme. I think we'll touch back with the Courtyard Theme, being that's one of the demo tracks. There was the Ominous Grove track and the Undead Host track, which was the first boss in the demo itself. The one track I do want to focus on right now is the main menu track, being that would be the first track that the player hears whenever they open up the game. And I felt an immense amount of pressure, so to speak, about how that needed to sound, and it probably went through 3 or 4 variations before we landed with what is right now the main menu track. I'd like to take a look though at what it first was before it was what you know it now. Alright, so if I have all my software working, you can see my screen right now, and in the upper left hand corner it says main menu maybe, which is exactly what this wound up being. As you can see, it's only 9 measures. So let's have a look at what I went with. So I thought that sounded very beautiful, and ultimately though it wasn't what I wanted to go with. But I did want to keep certain elements from this track. Obviously the piano and the violin I felt were very important parts of setting a tone. But as far as the overall feeling, it needed to be something a much more in and out of should I be happy or should I be a little concerned, upset. It needed to hit more themes than what was just right here. So those of you that played the version before the actual demo came out definitely would remember that the main menu theme is not what it is now. It was actually this track right here called Rose, which I thought was fitting that the main character's theme would be the main menu theme. So let's have a listen to what it was beforehand before we decide to change it up. Okay, we'll stop it right there. On this track, I really loved how it opened in a bit of a somber, maybe not so happy mood, and as it progressed, it got a little bit more hopeful. I thought I had hit something there that I really wanted to keep, either as her main theme or as the main menu theme. But definitely this, let's go take a look back at this lead right here. The F sharp AE, I wanted to kind of, that would be the reoccurring theme, the leitmotif, so to speak, for her character that would be prevalent throughout the rest of the tracks. But for whatever reason, I decided not to go with that. Actually, the reason being, I felt it was way too, this build-up right here, this whole beginning, before it actually got to where I wanted it to go, I wasn't confident that I could reintroduce that in different ways, that it would all sound coherent. The transitions needed to be a little bit easier to move in and out of, and I didn't feel too confident about being able to transition in and out of parts of certain tracks to keep reintroducing that main run. Now, after that last track you just listened to, and before the main menu track that you hear now on the demo, I tried to go back to do the piano string approach, which I wound up doing this track here that didn't make it as the final main menu theme. So none of these tracks, as you can see, have no sort of production to them as far as like equalizing goes. There's a reverb here because I wanted it to be violin, but I took the violin off and I just kept it with the piano itself. So there's no compressors, no nothing. I wrote it out, got up to 32 bars, and I said, where do I go from here? And I decided, as I do whenever I get completely stuck on something, just start something new and see how far I get there. And then a lot of times what I'll do is, well, let's just go look at the new main menu theme. Okay, so here we are in the new main menu. It's called Main Menu Redo Somber. I redid the main menu. So actually the main theme to the main menu, which would be this. I had to let that play out. So that became the leitmotif, the run, the main melody that would be prevalent throughout this whole soundtrack. At least I'm going to try and implement it. I mean, the soundtrack's still in progress. I'm going to try and implement it as often as I can where appropriate. So you should hear it come up every now and again in some fashion. But that was actually born in the trailer that came out. And upon writing that trailer, I was really held to how that sounded. So what wound up happening is I took the trailer template and restructured it in a way that it was piano, violin, and vocals. So as you can see in the upper left-hand corner, Menu Redo Somber, I wanted it to be a more somber approach, which still kept the piano and string element, but then I added vocals to it. So throughout the whole soundtrack, there's going to be a vocal element that should be very important to a lot of the tracks. Actually, in the demo, you should be able to hear a lot of vocal play as well. Okay, so in this first measure 5 through 11. So we're bouncing back and forth between B and G. The reason why I'm pointing that out is because the payoff comes at the end here with these chords. So as I said before, we were bouncing between B and G. So what we wound up doing is so I did like how that sounded with the payoff. Some of the other instruments I have going on here is a pad and analog strings, which is something I bought while doing the soundtrack for this. A very good investment, very good company. Comes in handy doing very ambient sounds, which help accompany the piano here at the end. It helps kind of widen things out, make them feel very things feel very surreal. I use a lot of Labs Instruments, which is a free sound library via Spitfire Audio. Thanks to Chris Shiflett for showing me this. Never would have found out about all these sounds had it not been for him. Yeah, so this is coming from Spitfire Audio as well. Definitely a lot of my violin sounds come from Spitfire Audio plugins. So that's what we wound up going with as far as the main menu is concerned. Now let's take a look at one of my favorite tracks from the demo itself. Now the last track I'd like to look at here today, since this is probably all the time I have, is the Courtyard Theme. Which, after doing the Pumpkin Prince and in the middle of trying to figure out what we wanted to do for the main menu, this was the next definite track that I had finished for him. Joey gave me some notes about how he wanted it to sound as far as like mystery and adventure goes. And whenever I'd finished it and sent it back to him, he told me I nailed it, and we wound. I think I added a bit more to it here and there. Usually I'll do an outline of the track, send him a demo test, then send him an update, and then I'll do a final where I go in and I whatever EQs or compressors I need to add to it, I wind up doing. I'll listen to the track, hundreds of times while I'm driving all day in my car or on my phone or here at the house. Just listening back, what could I add to it? Is this too much? Do I need to take this out of it? Does this really need to be there? Etc. So let's get in here and see what we got. So right off the bat, I knew that I wanted to go with the Kalimba Lead. I believe he showed me some screenshots of the first level of the Courtyard, and he was kind of describing to me that this would be the players like getting to know how the game felt. There wasn't going to be anything too massive that you had to overcome. It was going to ease you into it, and so the track needed to kind of reflect like adventure, mystery, but it also needed to feel kind of inviting and not so scary to where you just felt overwhelmed as far as like getting used to the controls and then having this massive track in the background that's just beating you down, and nothing too eerie that just was going to completely nothing too eerie that was going to be constantly on repeat. So whenever we were doing the demo, I tried to keep all that in mind, and I decided to go with the Kalimba because I felt like it hit all those things as far as mystery goes, adventure goes, especially with that melody run. Alright, so I won't let this play on forever, but I just wanted to highlight a few things. Of course, like I said, the Kalimba, I had to bring in this lead here, which I think is from Serum, Venus Theory. I had to think about that for a second. There's an artist named Venus Theory who was selling a plugin pack for Serum, or his preset pack, and I definitely had to go with that sound, and of course I called it Float Lead. It had this floaty quality to it that like a woodwind-esque type quality to it that I knew I had to go along with that Kalimba. And I brought in the piano here. The bells, of course. I feel like the bells accompany with the Kalimba. Have to have some sort of vocal sound as well in there. Ambient pads. There was also a bass run that I introduced later on, and there it is right there. Okay, again. So, as the track gets about halfway through, it switches up with a percussion and a bass run, and then I introduce that vocal quality again. That's just highlighting certain notes. Just no like a constant vocal melody, just coming in with a slow attack. So that was the Courtyard. So I wasn't able to show too terribly much. I was kind of hoping to go on and continue to show some more of the tracks without spoiling anything. I don't want to give away some unreleased tracks that you haven't heard in the demo, their names or anything. I just want to end this video by telling everyone who supported on Kickstarter, or if you're in the Discord or a part of Patreon, how much I appreciate you guys. Whenever I joined this project, I really just wanted to get in the experience. I had always written music since I was 15 years old, playing guitar, I joined band, I played saxophone. I was in a band, a metal band, and I always made music with my brother as well. But as far as video games go, they've always held a certain spot in my life that I always came back to. So two things that have always been consistent in my life is video games and music. And if I could blend the two together, I'd be completely happy and over the moon about it. And this project here has allowed me to do that. And seeing the amount of support that Joey got for his project just blew my mind. And I was happy to sit here and be a part of it, and also witness all his hard work pay off in that sense. And here's hoping to the future that the game continues to grow, and whenever the final product's released, I can't wait to see what everybody has to say about it. And any updates in the meantime, I'd love to hear your feedback. I try to be active in the Discord. I definitely pop in and read and catch up on what everybody's been saying about the game. So it's always good to hear your feedback on all this stuff. Well, that's really all I can show for today. But in the meantime, I hope everyone takes care of themselves. And we'll see you in the next update.